Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Spiritual Journey podcast. This is episode 142. We like to start off every episode by saying thank you. Thank you for our listeners. Thank you for being here on this journey with us. We could not do this without your support. And I have to introduce my amazing co host, my buddy, Namesh.
Yay. Thank you, Stace. So we thought we'd start with something different. Whenever I start the podcast and I start with, hello, everybody. Before we start, Stace always kind of, I don't know, she finds it really funny for some reason. So we thought this time, let's have a different start. So thank you, Stace. And I'll start by introducing myself. Hello, everybody. I'm Nims. I'm an Akashic record reader, Akashic trainer, a podcast host, podcast creator, as well as a spiritual coach and mentor. And I just love guiding people to shine their light. I really do believe we're in that space to truly, truly help people. I started this podcast to really simplify spirituality, to guide people on their spiritual journey. I really feel blessed that that's what this podcast is doing. And I love my co-host, the beautiful, the stunning, the healer extraordinaire, Stacey Brown, to introduce herself. Stace, over to you.
Thank you. I am so happy to be here again in this space. I love knowing that we're pouring into people. It makes me really excited about every episode. My name is Stacey. I'm an intuitive. I do readings for people from around the world. I'm also a spiritual coach and mentor. I am co-host of this podcast, and I'm an Akashic record reader. And I recently published my first book, Journey to Soul Center: Discovering the Gift of Surrender. I'm really looking forward to this episode, Nims.
So am I. So am I. Can you believe we're at 142? How crazy is that?
It's crazy. It's mind
And
blowing, especially I started with you at episode 17.
it's crazy, right? And
Yeah.
I was just looking at the numbers, and we're at 150,000 downloads and nearly 69,000 unique listeners. Just it's crazy. Feel so very, very blessed.
That gives me a little bit of stage fright when I hear it because I'm like, okay, when we do these episodes, we're of course thinking about the listener and thinking about what your takeaway is going to be and how we can pour into you. But I don't think of listeners in like the hundreds or the thousands. I just think about that one person who's tuning in while they're on their way to work, or they're with their kids, or they're on their lunch break taking a walk. I just picture that one person. So picturing like a vast number of people feels a little bit overwhelming.
Very true. It definitely is definitely easier. And we do focus on one person. Ultimately, if this podcast helps one person, then we've achieved our objective, right? So obviously, if it helps thousands, even better, right? But as long as it helps one. So what's today's topic? So today's topic is divine timing and trusting the universe. Um, right now it just feels like we're at a phase where we don't really know what's next. We want to know, we really kind of want to map it out. We can feel something different is happening around us, inside us. And this comes from lots of conversations we've had recently with lots of our clients and lots of different people. And it really does feel like a place where it is time for us to trust. We don't know what's coming. And, divine timing and trust in the universe, it really does feel appropriate for now. Divine timing, what's meant for you will find you. So, and there is a timing to it, right? God's delays are not God's denials. So, what if whatever the universe has plans for you is so much bigger than you could ever imagine? And what if the universe is working behind the scenes with your guides on whatever's coming next for you? And there is a trustful, right? Trusting in divine timing. But here's the thing, trusting in divine timing doesn't mean that you sit back and do nothing, right? It doesn't mean that you just think, well, okay, divine timing, so I don't need to do anything. No, you still got to do the self care. You still got to meet the universe halfway. So you still got to show up in whatever way you feel you need to by having a strong self care routine, by showing up in whatever way, speaking your truth, because you've got to meet the universe halfway. And so, still do your work, still do your self care routine, still show up, still speak your truth, but do trust the universe. And what if you go back to the biggest times where you had the biggest growth, did it come in the way you were expecting it to? Probably didn't. Did it come in the timing you were expecting it to? No, it didn't. So here's the thing: in the past, you've trusted the universe and you trusted divine timing. So what if you could trust the universe right now? What if you could trust that whatever's coming for you next is on its way and it'll come in divine timing? What if it's just being prepared and your guides are working on it and it's so magical that you couldn't even dream how big it is? So Stace, when I say to you divine timing and trust in the universe, what does that mean to you?
It means going against everything that I naturally feel as a type A human. I mean, I am a certified control freak and I want to know what's coming next and I want to be prepared for it. And I will analyze it and I will second guess it and I will question it and I will deconstruct it and I will do it all over again if I have the time. I find that this is one of my challenges. And I actually have the word surrender tattooed on my arm as a reminder, because I do feel like this is about surrendering to whatever is meant for you instead of what you think is meant for you, right? It's about trusting that the universe has your back and that whatever is meant for you is going to find you regardless of your your idea of what it's meant to be, and this is something that I think I've probably struggled with for a large portion of my life because I've always been an anxious person, so I'm always like naturally anticipating what's going to come next. But if somebody had told me a couple years ago that I would be where I am right now, doing what I'm doing and living on my own and making this a full-time career, I would never have believed it. I would never have believed that this is the path that I would be on. If somebody had asked me a couple years ago, I would say, I'm a hairdresser, and that's the thing that I'm going to do until my dying day. And I have moments where I question, like, am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? Am I doing what I'm meant to be doing? I think we all have moments of questioning, but I keep being led on this journey to helping people in this way. And, there are moments where I think, okay, am I doing enough? Am I giving enough? But then another sign happens to show me that this is, in fact, divine timing, that I am absolutely being led on the path that's meant for me. And I think it's about equal parts of being committed and doing your part to show up and surrendering. Like, I think there's an equal balance. And it's interesting because we teach people a technique in our mentorship program called a manifestation triangle. And in the manifestation triangle, we have you set a goal in each area: spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical. And on one side of the triangle, we have you put what actions you're going to take to make the goal happen. And then on the other side, we have you put what God and the universe are going to do to show off. And I go back to it's the same idea in how we're living. We're living like the manifestation triangle. It's equal parts of trusting in the divine timing and taking action towards the goals that you have.
Love it. And shout out to Sidra for helping me create the manifestation triangle. She's always in the background somewhere, right? The other thing that it's important is, you've got to do your thing, meet the universe halfway and trust in the universe. But you've also got to manage your expectations. Think about a client call that we've just had, and sometimes the way that things come through are not in the way that you expected them to. And if you're so rigid with how you expect things to come through, then you miss the magic. And The example of the client, there's so many things that have gone her way recently, but there's one thing that she was been dreaming of in the way it was meant to be dreamt and hasn't happened in the exact way that she thought it was going to. But actually, when you break it down, everything she's been trying to manifest, she's actually gone. But
Mhm.
because it wasn't in the box that she thought it was going to be, you miss it. And this is the point. This is the I really feel like the time we're in right now is about being present in the moment and appreciating the magic in the moment, because divine timing is also about recognizing divine timing. And the only way you can recognize divine timing is if you're in the moment. Because if you're lost in, what's already happened in the past or what's coming in the future, then you may miss divine timing. You may still experience what you expected, but you may miss the magic of it. You
Mhm.
may miss that actually the universe is supporting you in so many amazing ways because you're focused on in what ways the universe you believe is not supporting you. And that's why something I missed on the self-care stuff is gratitude. Because being grateful, especially in the moment, allows you to be present in the moment. And then what if in that moment you can appreciate the magic that's happening around you? Because, you know, trusting in divine timing is a big part of it is knowing the magic that's happening now around you so you can know that it's divine timing. Because how often do we achieve what we want to do, but we're so focused on the next thing, we don't celebrate our success. So being present in the moment and celebrating your success and being grateful is also a big part of it.
Mhm.
It's just so often I think about the client work that we do, and sometimes I feel like it's pointing out the obvious because it's like when you're stuck in your day-to-day routine, it's hard sometimes for you to stop to see the magic. And it's hard for you to celebrate yourself because we're great at celebrating others, but we're not always good at celebrating ourselves. And I think of another client we thought about yesterday who's going through a lot personally, but actually who's manifested a beautiful team around him to support him while he's going through something crazy. And again, so the universe can't stop you from, and it's not meant to stop you from go through potentially painful things that are going to expand you. But divine timing is also knowing that the universe is supporting you when you are going through these painful things. One of my phrases I love the most, and you guys have heard me say it before, but pain is inevitable, suffering is optional. And that's the other thing with divine timing is knowing that whatever you're going through for a reason. And this is where you've also got to trust the universe and know that everything that's happening to you is serving you in some kind of way. And I get that's triggering for some, especially when you're going through something so intense. But if you are going through so intense, just what if you take a moment and just feel how much the universe and who is the universe sent you to support you in these times? And if you don't feel supported, then tell the universe. How does that feel to you, Stace?
It's so interesting because, like you said, we're stating the obvious in so many ways, but it's so easy to fall into that space when something doesn't look the way that you expected it to, right? And this could be a positive or a negative. It could be, quote, good or bad, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be something that didn't turn out the way that you wanted in some sort of negative way. It just might look different. And our client that we were just working with, what she was anticipating was going to happen looks different than what she had expected. And she had a heavy heart about it. And then we kind of talked it out, and she realized like she had set this expectation, but the universe had actually met her halfway and was giving her exactly what she wanted. It just is in a different package than what she expected, right? And so it's interesting because I think about my own life, and I have moments where, gosh, sometimes this podcast really gets me. I have moments where a memory will flash up from social media or from my phone, reminding me of what my life was like when I was married and living in my home in the country. And I'll think to myself, like, what am I doing? You know, how did I get here? What is happening? And yet I then think about the hundreds of people that we have helped through our mentorship and our coaching. And I 100% would not be doing this work if I had stayed in that relationship. I would not be doing what I'm doing right now. And I had a client this morning who got tearful and said, I wouldn't be where I am right now without these months of guidance from you. And it's like, that work is so much more significant than the perceived comforts that I had of the past. And I say perceived because I think sometimes when our life looks different than what we expected, that we can kind of trick ourselves into thinking that it was better before, like it was better before this, or it was better before that. When really, if I sat here and I was having a conversation with you, probably not live on the podcast, you would be like, Stacey, you weren't happy in that marriage. You weren't thriving in that relationship. And I watched you crumbling because of it.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
it's
reality
like,
is so different, right? The light you're shining is so different.
mhm.
But it's easy to look at things with rose-tinted glasses, right?
Yeah. And I think it's easy to look at like where we were or where we wanted to go and think that somehow we would be better off. But there's something about this process that I'm going through that is meant to help other people. There is something about this time, this introspective, quiet time, that I am meant to gain knowledge and wisdom from in order to carry it out to other people. And it is uncomfortable at times. It is awkward at times, but I also feel like I absolutely have moments where I'm like, Stacey, you are doing what you're meant to be doing. You are meant to be on this path. This is divinely led, and this is not about you. And in my weak moments, right, I have different thoughts, but I always try to redirect myself back to trusting that I am where I am meant to be, doing what I am meant to be doing. And unless or until I get a sign of something different, I need to keep doing this. Like, okay, I was in the car this morning, all right, and I was driving my daughter to school, and I was thinking about how busy I am. And then I was thinking about, well, maybe I need to be busier. I'm not even joking. And I was like, maybe I need to figure out another job that I work on the weekends and do this during the week, right? And I'm having this whole conversation with myself about like what I need to be doing and how it needs to look different. And I went down this rabbit hole, Nims, like full on rabbit hole, driving my daughter to school about what I need to do to fill my time more. Now, here's the thing, filling my time is just me trying to avoid instead of trusting the divine timing, right? Like if I am meant to do something else, I'm going to feel it, I'm going to know it. And right now, when I'm doing this work, I know I'm doing what I'm meant to do. I
And it's
know
not
it.
like you have a lot of free time.
No, I don't have a lot of free time. Like, that's the thing. I'm very busy, but there's something that can be uncomfortable about this season because it's very, very different than anything I've been through before. I mean, I've been raising kids since I was 20 years old. And now in this season, yes, I'm still raising one child, but 50% of the time I'm on my own, I'm by myself. And I've had to really get used to being in my own energy for the first time in my adult life. What does that feel like? What does that look like? What do I do with that time? How do I take care of myself? Right. And trusting that this is all part of the plan. This is all part of the plan to expand me, to grow me, to challenge me. This is all part of my own unique journey.
That's the beauty of it, right? But I mean, you raise a really good point in terms of somehow sometimes we think we're missing something
Mhm,
because we can feel the changes happening inside us. We can feel that something's coming. It's like, what if I missed it? What if I've this? What if that? And it's that sometimes just letting go of that nothing, and realizing nothing is missing actually accelerates whatever's coming next
mhm.
because it is that expectation. And it's like, I sometimes think our guys, the universe does do like to have fun with us too, right? And it's, it just, the affirmation that I love, I can't remember where it came from, but I am who I am where I am. And if that resonates with any listeners, use it because I am who I am. Everything I've been through, everything I've done in my life has brought me to this person. I am who I am, and I am where I am. And I am
Mhm,
exactly where I need to be.
mhm,
And that is such a powerful way to accept you are where you are. You are who you're meant to be. And you're perfect as you are in this moment. Nothing is missing. You haven't missed out on anything. And whatever's coming is not going to miss you, right? Whatever's for you will find you. And I get that sometimes hard to believe. Look, there's part of me that's known this. There's massive change coming for me that's been around me for a while. I don't know when it's going to arrive. And a lot's changed for me already, right? I mean, I left the corporate world a few months ago. So a lot has changed for me in my day to day already, but I also feel there's more change coming and I'm ready for it. But reality, if everyone was to be honest with themselves and look at the last few years, we haven't really had any control. Whatever expectation we had, did anyone really expect us to all be in lockdown at the same time? Nobody could have manifested that or predicted that. And at the same time, you know, everything that we've been through this year, energetically, this year felt like a different year from the beginning, but it still meant for everyone that we've been talking to that it has still been a roller coaster, right? There's been so many um karmic cycles being closed, ancestral cycles, so many friendships, I won't say lost, let go of, whatever that means. Um, it has been a lot of closures, a lot of things ending, but at the same time, lots of things starting. And this is the thing. It's like our need for control, our need to put things in a box and being able to plan for what's coming next. Sometimes it's stopping us from truly appreciating the magic in the moment. And I'm not telling you not to manifest what's coming next. Of course, manifest it, manifest, pretend, just imagine you're in it and be emotional with it. But at the same time, be present in the moment, be present in the universe showing off for you, be present in, I always love this phrase which said it's great when your plans come true. It's even better when they don't because it means God's plans come true, whether that's God's source, whatever you want to look at it. You know, quoting from a Rob Williams song, I tell God my plans and he laughs at me, right? There's so many different ways of saying it because we're on this ride, we're on this human journey, we're on this, Our soul has picked this human journey for us to truly experience. When I started out in my career, I was in corporate and I was expecting to become CEO of the world. I started out, I was being very successful. I had a senior role, I had a nice company car, good salary, and then the universe had different plans. And, I was still in the corporate world for many years. I only left a few months ago. But whatever experience that happened to me maybe nearly 20 years ago, opening me up to a spiritual existence. The healer I am today, what I do today on a day-to-day basis, is nothing like what I expected to do 25, 30 years ago. And honestly, I expected to lead a program life, i.e., have a really successful corporate career, get married, have 2.4 kids, the traditional program life that we were told is what we are meant to do. And honestly, I've led anything but a program life. But I love it. I wouldn't be the healer I am today. I wouldn't be doing the things I am today if I hadn't been through what I'd been through. Of course, there's been times when I questioned it, right? There's been times I question it now. It's like, well, hold on a second. I know what I'm here to do something. I want to do more of it. And just like you, it's like, well, maybe I need to be doing something else. But in the moments of magic, when I look at who I am, proud of who I've been, what I've been through. And this is what I'm asking for the listeners is I'm not saying you're still not going through a lot, and I'm sure there's a lot of people going through many, many challenging things, but also maybe take time in a moment to celebrate how far you've come, that you got through whatever you've been through. No one else, you did. And of course, there's still things to do. Of course, there are a lot of people that are struggling and going through so much. And, day to day could be a struggle. But at the same time, you showed up for you. And what can you celebrate today? And I ask you to do trust in divine timing.
Mhm.
Take a moment and just feel the energy around you and just feel your guides and know they are here to support you, but they can only help you if you ask for help. So maybe it's time to ask for help from the guides. How's that feel to you, Stace?
I agree. I think it's also important to reach out for help because for me, and I was telling our client this morning, I could not have navigated through this process in my life had I not had mentors guiding me along the way. I could not have figured it out without a sounding board. I couldn't have figured it out without somebody giving me action steps. I could not have navigated getting to where I am on my own. It took for me a team of people to get me to this place where I could show up in the world the way that I'm meant to. I don't believe we're meant to figure it out on our own. I just don't believe that. I believe that it's divine support, but I also believe it's human support. And I think that this is something that we don't talk enough about. And so people assume that there's something wrong with them if they can't figure it out on their own. If they're sitting and churning independently, they think to themselves, well, if so and so can figure it out on their own, why can't I? But I don't believe that we are meant as humans to figure it out on our own. I believe that we're meant to do it with the help of somebody in our corner. For some people, this is a therapist. For some people, it's a mentor and coach. For some people, it's some other kind of support system. But I feel that in order to show up in the world the way that you feel that you're meant to, it's going to take somebody coming in from the outside and helping you to see things through a different lens. And that's something that we do, right? We work really hard to bring people into a space of greater awareness. And I truly believe that with guidance and support, with the right guidance and support, you can accomplish anything that you set your mind to. But it's about reaching out and saying, I don't know how to do this on my own. And being willing to do things differently than the way you have been doing them. Right?
Yeah, I mean, Einstein would say definition of insanity is keep doing the same thing, expect a different set of results, right? And doing something different is a big part of, taking that trustful and, maybe booking a discovery call with us to actually find out more about the mentorship is a great step, right? And it's that it is interesting sometimes, with the work that we do with the people that we're mentoring. We don't do the work for people, right? Because the thing is that anyone that works with us, you've got to. It's an agreement for you to go deep on who you are,
Mhm.
and so if you're ready to go deep on who you are and truly shine your light, and if our voice resonates, then maybe we're the right people to work with you, right? Reach out. Um, I'll always say things like, everything we need is inside us. All the love, all the joy, all the answers, everything we need is inside us. And so often we go outside looking for the answers. Um, but actually, you've got to check in with yourself because sometimes you're looking outside to be fixed. What we do as mentors and what a good mentor does is guide you to your answers that's inside you. And there are steps in terms of trusting in divine timing, right? It is about seeing the magic that's happening inside you, around you. And sometimes you do need someone to point that out. Sometimes you need someone to help you accelerate the things that happen inside you. I feel what the work that we do is a lot of our clients has have almost done the pre-work, have been through so many painful things. And then, I'm just thinking about the client from yesterday, right? The first 3 months was really about helping him understand everything that's happening inside him. And it feels like the next 3 months has always been about connecting the dots so he truly understands and can bring it all together. It's just beautiful. I love the work that we do. And honestly, on these podcasts, we don't do a hard sell because we trust that anyone that's meant to work with us will come to us. It's a soul contract. So if our voice resonates, sure, book a discovery call. We'd love you to take you through the mentorship program. Um, but if you take anything from this podcast, know that you are needed, you're wanted, your soul chose to be here. I don't really think of anyone's role as any more or less important than anyone else's. I feel like the planet is going through a mass change. I feel like everything that's happening is kind of planned and was predicted. Um, Everybody's going through something, and it feels like a beautiful time to guide people. And everyone has a role to play, right? So whoever's listening, your voice is important, and you are here to do something. As a soul, you chose to be here at this time, and light workers are needed. The planet, as I say, is going through something, and maybe you're meant to be a mentor. I really feel that anyone that works with us is meant to be a spiritual mentor in some way. It doesn't mean, may not, the program may not look like what we do, but I really do feel we have the ripple effect of touching lives and then having the ripple effect of touching many, many people and helping the universe grow. I love this time. It does feel challenging. And there are times when both of us feel challenged, both of us question, should we be doing something else in terms of, something else on the spiritual side? Is something missing? We're all humans, right? We're all at times doubt ourselves. It's just human.
Mhm.
But then just taking time and just every once in a while, I just stop and look around and just think of my life and just how much have I been through? How much have I grown? What have I had to get to who I am today? And in that moment, I feel the magic.
Mhm.
And this is what I believe the universe does. It gives you glimpses of what's coming because I really feel that if we were shown everything, maybe it'd consume us and it'd be too much.
Oh my gosh. It would be too much for me.
I know.
Like, I think the
And
universe is
Stace,
being
honestly,
kind.
how often do I say to you, Stace, why don't you just take a look around and be grateful for everything that's happening to you? Because, sometimes we need someone else to tell us that, right?
Mhm. 100%. Sometimes we can let the day to day get to us and lose sight of the bigger picture. And having somebody to point that out can be really, really important. It can be crucial because, like our client today, she kind of got caught up in thinking things were going to look a certain way. And she was deeply discouraged. And by the time our call was done, she was looking at it in a completely different way, completely different, just from our call. Right? It's powerful. It's powerful to think of the influence that we have on one another and to think about the number of people that we have helped. It it blows my mind, and it honestly is the only thing that makes all the suffering worth it, is knowing that God is taking my journey and using the pain and turning it into a purpose and allowing me to pour into other people in a bigger way after what I've experienced. And for me, that is the only thing that makes it all okay, right? Is like, I went through all of this and there was some suffering and there was some pain, but look at who we're helping. Look at how we're helping. These things would not have happened had I not been through the challenges that I've been through. So even in the challenges, there's something to trust in the divine timing, right? There's something to believe in that's bigger, that's guiding this.
Yep, very true. And it's I never know where an episode is going to go. I always say we pick a topic and we just talk about it, and you know, taking us down the route of talking about a mentorship program, which we love. Um, but understand, and maybe for our listeners, what if everything you're going through is for that same reason? What if everything you're going through is so you can guide others? Maybe you're chopping down the branches and you're going through things at such a deep level so you can guide others through it. There's always purpose in whatever we're going through. And, we do guide people to truly help them understand their purpose and why they've gone through what they're going through and how they're going to use it. But if even one listener can just take time today and just ask yourself, why have you been through everything you've been through? How can you use your experience to help and guide others? And sometimes it's hard, especially when you're going through it. The last thing you're thinking about is helping others, right? Because you're going through it. But sometimes a really good way of integrating a lesson is by using it. And when we talk about guiding our clients, and I really do think sometimes other people's guides use us as our voice.
Hmm.
So, listen to the people energetically. If you have people around you that have your best interest at heart, listen to what they say, but listen to it with an open mind, because sometimes, again, our ego gets in the way. We don't want to hear the obvious. We don't want to hear, um, sometimes we don't want to hear good things about ourselves because we want to feel bad about ourselves.
Hmm.
So what if today you took time to celebrate you? You took time to consider who in your life is there to support you. And you took time to truly ask the question, well, hold on, everything I've been through, who have I helped? Who could I help? And maybe that's your message. And yeah, maybe if we can help, if a voice resonates, reach out, book a discovery call. We love what we do. Um, so Stacey, I've always loved this conversation with you. I never quite know where it's going to go. Um, but yeah, as we close out, any final bits of advice? And I always love asking you for journal prompts.
So I would get your journal out and write about divine timing. So What in your life do you feel has been divinely timed? And expand on the experience. And what are you waiting on right now in this season of your life? What are you waiting on and hoping for divine timing? And are you open to things looking different than what you expected?
Love it, love it. Always good with the journal prompts. And as you listen to this episode, maybe divine timing with this episode, right? Maybe this is your message to truly trust in whatever's coming next. And whatever expectations you had, try and leave them at the door. I love this opportunity this podcast gives for us to share whatever comes through. Like I said at the beginning, my intention with this podcast was to share whatever knowledge I had and to simplify spirituality. I got the message that my voice is my gift and I should use it. And I feel so blessed that I listened to that message. So, what could your message be today? We'd love to hear from you. Send us a DM. Um, any feedback on this episode, but also if there's anything else you'd like us to cover. We always love hearing from our listeners, so please do reach out. Um, Book a discovery call if you feel like the mentorship program is right for you and you want to find out more. We also do Akashic record readings, so we do a joint reading which is unique. So you can book a reading with us where you get a message from a divine feminine, divine masculine. It's always such a beautiful, unique experience. And like others have heard me before, Akashic records have changed my life. I feel very, very blessed with them. So as we close out, sending so much love and light out to everybody. I feel so very blessed with all the listeners. And Stacey, I'm going to hand over to you to close us out.
Thank you, everybody, for being here with us again on another episode. It fills my soul to know that we're touching so many people and we love the work that we're doing. And we're here to support you in any way we can. Thanks for listening.
Thank you. Sending love and light. Bye for now.